Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw, and I am joined by the Peterbilt 281 chasing after my Plymouth Valiant, half of the one-season show, Jess Byard.
All right, I'm like an evil murder truck. That's pretty awesome.
Choo-choo, motherfucker! Except it's not a train.
I do like the Plymouth Valiant, though. I would totally drive that car.
Would you drive it while having an inner monologue like Dennis Weaver?
I mean, I would have an inner monologue, but I think it would be slightly more interesting, maybe.
Yeah.
Or at least, I sure as fuck wouldn't be pushing a school bus with it.
Yeah, right.
On a windy road. Fuck that.
Yeah. So we are kicking off our look at Spielberg's B-sides with a look at his first film ever, in quotations. I mean, it is his first film, but it's his first... I would say if you talk to people who know about movies, it is his first film.
Well, what, he did a Night Gallery before this?
An Amblin, a short film.
Right. Night Gallery, that episode with Joan Crawford is... Yeah, that was his first directorial debut, basically. The first time he ever got to direct anything, and it was directing Joan Crawford, aging Joan Crawford, in arguably one of the better Tales from the Dark Side episodes, Night Gallery episodes, because there are not a whole lot of awesome Night Gallery episodes, but the ones that do really stick the landing. My favorite story about that episode of Night Gallery is that Bette Davis was supposed to star in it, but when the studio, basically when they were telling her Steven Spielberg would be directing it, she was like, fucking Steven Spielberg, I'm not going to act for, I'm Bette Davis. Yeah, I'm Bette Davis. I'm not going to fucking act for some brand new director. So they were like, well, call Joan Crawford. She'll do it if Bette Davis won't. And that she did. But Duel would be his first motion picture, except it was a made-for-TV movie, so whatever lines you want to mince there.
Well, I mean, Duel is technically a made-for-TV movie as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So Duel is Mr. Steven Spielberg's first film. Before we get into this, we didn't talk about doing this, but I'm springing this on you right here.
Oh, wow.
Right now. Ooh, oh, God, no! Because we're talking about Steven Spielberg's B-sides, what is your favorite Steven Spielberg film? Yeah, see, you didn't know it was coming, but I had to.
I knew it was coming when you said, I'm going to spring this on you, and then I was like, damn it, I know what he's going to ask me.
Ready Player One is obviously the answer.
Clearly.
Ready Player One is a fucking failure. In just being a movie alone.
What is your favorite? Because I do need to think about it for a second.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to give mine until the last podcast of the month.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to fucking do that. My favorite Steven Spielberg movie, probably... It's probably Temple of Doom, which is weird because it's like a franchise movie, but I mean...
But it's Indiana the best Indiana Jones movie. Sorry, everyone else.
Oh, wait. Do you agree?
Yes.
Oh,
I am
my
a Temple of Doom.
God. Jess.
Like, yes.
This
is where our friendship solidifies.
Oh, my God.
It is set in concrete now.
You're not fucking kidding.
I am not. Temple of Doom is my favorite Indiana Jones movie, 100%, hands down. Fuck everybody else who hates that movie.
Oh, my God. Yes, Temple of Doom.
Because, yes, Kate Capshaw's annoying, fine, but the character's supposed to be annoying and whatever.
And look, is it culturally out of touch? Sure, but have you seen the movies that this film is referencing? They were also culturally out of touch. And it's not like they're making a bunch of, like, jokes at the expense of the Indian culture. It's just, like, really elevated, stupid shit that works in the sense of it being a pulp film. I mean, I'm sure you could make the case that that's offensive and that I'm just making excuses, but I'm sticking with this, so...
I mean, Temple of Doom, I watched it on loop as a kid. It's funny, my grandmother will... often remind that when my mom was a kid, she used to watch Wizard of Oz on loop. But when I was a kid, I used to watch Temple of Doom on loop. So I was always... And that's the thing, like, I think for anybody who is a horror fan, everybody has those moments of as a kid where they have this sort of, like, tangentially related horror things that they stumble upon as children. And... Temple of Doom has a lot of really creepy stuff in it. I mean, the bugs in the hallway and that whole sequence and her having to stick her hand in there. I don't know if I could do it. I honestly don't. Even to this day, I see it and it makes every just fiber of my being just crawl with anxiety. And I mean, yeah, there's children being horribly enslaved and whipped at the end of this movie, and there's people getting their hearts ripped out, and yeah, that all supersedes Kate Capshaw being annoying, and Harrison Ford is always pretty to look at, so yeah, I love Temple of Doom. Yes, well, he's not my favorite, but I don't dislike him.
What about Amish Puri as Mola Ram? I mean...
Yeah.
Is there a better villain in Indiana Jones movies? I don't think so. I mean...
Well, a lot of people would disagree.
Well, you know what they say? A lot of people are fucking wrong. I mean, look, of the villains that I find to be in Indiana Jones to be actually, like, menacing, isn't Mola Ram the only one? Because the other ones are just dudes in suits.
Well, yeah, you're just standard Nazi archetypes that we,
Rich Nazi and guy hired by Nazis.
Tropes, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the Temple of Doom, and I mean, it's a prequel technically. Like it comes before everything else. So it's like I would have liked to have seen more of the pulpy Indiana Jones does. Just his random like. No, I'm just in it for the jewels. In this case, I'm not trying to like take on any big overarching enemy that is the Nazi. It's just this small one, single story. I would have liked to see more stuff like that. But you know what? Agree. I mean, and hey, Raiders is great too. I do love Raiders. I have no hate for that movie. Last Crusade, I could take or leave. But Temple of Doom, that is where my heart lies. But I guess to answer your question, if I didn't say Temple of Doom...
I mean, you could still say
it's got to be Jaws. No, it's got to be Jaws. Jaws is
feels like a safe pick.
Well, it's between Jaws and Close Encounters.
Oh, God, yeah, those are both safe picks. Both good movies. They're safe picks for a reason. Oh, yeah, they're safe picks for a reason because they're fucking amazing.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For JD Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Duel discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster. You know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
The reason I'm picking Jaws is because I saw Jaws in some whatever re-release it was many years ago at a movie theater that no longer exists. And I saw it at like a midnight screening, and I had seen Jaws many times before, and I have seen Jaws many times since. But watching that movie in a theater with people and having, people who were actually enjoying it and were there because they liked it and having that sort of energy, there were moments in, when that guy's head pops up in the thing. It was actually kind of jarring seeing it in the theater. And then when we left, I was walking through the dark parking lot, and I just had this weird, eerie feeling. I'm like, there's no shark in this parking lot, obviously. But that it creates that feeling. And I think, I don't know, it just to have that kind of reaction and whatever in probably 2012 or something like that. It probably, around that time. It just, I don't know. I love it. It's Jaws.
I'm not being derogatory. I'm saying it is a safe pick, but it's because it's. I mean, if I hadn't said Temple of Doom, it would have been Jaws. Because it's a fucking perfect movie.
And then Close Encounters, similarly, I saw that at the Cinerama Dome in LA, which is a theater that it premiered at. And so I got to see it on that huge fucking screen. And I watched Close Encounters a lot when I was a little kid. Like, my Nana had a large collection of VHS, and she was always into kind of sci-fi and horror adjacent stuff. So I watched a lot of that when I was a kid. And Close Encounters was definitely one that was on the rotation, the frequent rotation. And I hadn't watched it, though, in a long time, like probably since I was a kid. And I got to see it for the first time again in a long time in the Cinerama Dome. And I was sitting next to people who had never seen it. It was just these 2 strangers. And the scene where the ship finally lights all the way up and, starts playing the music. These 2 girls who were probably like in their early 20s both like audibly gasped at it because they clearly hadn't seen it before. And for a movie that came out in 1977, that those fucking practical effects still hold up, and to have like them make 2 20-something-year-old girls just like audibly just gasp at how awesome it looked, that was also a great experience. So yeah, definitely those. And I mean, he's Steven Spielberg. There's a lot of stuff to like, and I think that there's a lot of stuff to not like.
Well, I mean, I think you could make the case that no director had a better track record in the 80s than Spielberg. Raiders, E.T. I know you don't like E.T., but Raiders, E.T., Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, and then, I mean, even if you extend it a little farther, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List.
Like John Hughes, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely, Steven Spielberg ruled the 80s. That's why we have Stranger Things. That's
why we have Ready Player One.
Yes, it is.
It's them eating their own
Again,
young.
like I said, lot to not like too.
Yeah. And like with the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I have a poster collection in my house. It is the thing that I collect. If I collect things, I collect tiki mugs and posters. And I have a Jurassic Park tiki mug. I have 2 Jurassic Park posters. I have a Close Encounters of the Third Kind poster and a Jaws poster. If one director has more wall space in my house than any other, it's Steven Spielberg. And there's a reason for that, because he's made the films that are iconic. I mean, how many people could say Jaws is a safe pick? Like, fuck, that's a safe pick. Like, fuck, man, that's a perfect fucking movie in every sense of the word. I mean, you could make the case that Raiders is a perfect movie, too. I wouldn't, but I know people who love that more than any other of the films would, too.
And I mean, a lot of his movies, they have that timeless feel to them, where, like, they feel like it's the 80s, sure, but it also, they're never, Close Encounters, its time period doesn't really matter. It's just a story about, Richard Dreyfuss and these aliens. And Jaws could happen. I mean, continue to be killer shark movies made, not good ones, but they're there.
To varying degrees of success.
Right, exactly. And yeah, I mean, he's Steven Spielberg. Unfortunately, that doesn't come across here.
Yeah, no. So, So let's talk about Duel.
Duel.
Hi. Help you, mister?
You got a telephone.
Out and back.
This way?
Something for your car?
Well, you can, put what ethyl you can get in the tank.
All righty.
Would you mind checking those radiator hoses?
I'll do that. Take a look at my snakes if you have time.
Weird place for a telephone booth.
Operator.
I'd like to report a truck driver that's been endangering my life.
In that case, I'll have to give you the police, sir.
Right, well, give me the police.
Sir, which department do you want?
Whichever's closer.
What number are you calling from?
This number is 9821.
What's your name, sir?
David Mann.
How do you spell that, please?
M-A-N-N, that's 2 N's. I'd like to report a truck driver that's been endangering my life.
What's your name again?
David Mann.
Wrote the script. It's based on Richard Matheson's story from Playboy in 1971. It originally was a television film, but was later edited and extended for a proper theatrical release. It is a film about Dennis Weaver, who plays David Mann, a man being chased by another man in a tanker truck, while Dennis Weaver is in his, like we mentioned already, Plymouth Valiant. Yeah, this is a movie. It's not a good movie.
You mentioned the key point here. The key fact is that this is based on a short story that Richard Matheson wrote for Playboy. I mean, he didn't write it for Playboy, but he wrote it and submitted it to Playboy. But it's based on a real-life incident that happened to him where he was being tailgated by a truck, and he thought, hey, this would make an interesting...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times, or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months, or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Interesting, movie. And then they made a movie about a man being chased by a truck, and that's exactly what it feels like. There's nothing else. It's more of an incident. Like, this is less of a story and more of an incident, and it would have been better as a short film, but it's also not like... It's also interesting because Duel kind of kicked off, or was at least, pretty influential in the sort of killer car subgenre.
It sure was.
Of horror movies. And, I guess you go back far enough in Origins and not all the Origins are all that interesting. So, yeah, Duel. Duel is,
it's not good. I was so disappointed because I had heard it's like, oh, it's kind of like Jaws. But
yeah, like no, that's how they marketed it.
Yeah, I think
they didn't because it came out way before then, obviously. But I think that's how they remarketed.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, oh, that's this. It's what this movie is you take everything that makes a chase film interesting, including a protagonist who is sympathetic, and strip all of that out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's this movie. It is an hour and a half. It feels like it's 2 hours. It's not particularly interesting. The ending of the film, it wraps up way too
so predictably.
Yeah, well, that too. But it's also, it wraps up way too quickly. The villain is memorable-esque, but they also
the
do
truck looks cool.
Yeah, but there's no actual human antagonist, which I'm not complaining about, but at the same time, to me, this feels... look, this is the first movie we're doing for this month. It's Spielberg's first film. Like you said at the top, it feels like Spielberg's first film.
Yes. It feels like he's making something for TV initially. And so I don't remember exactly how how he came to make this movie. I don't know how it fell into his lap or how, I don't know if it's something that he read and then decided he wanted to make it, or if it was something that he was commissioned to make. I'm fuzzy on that. But I have my notes here in my positives category, of which there is one, and it is, at least it gets itself started quickly, which, it opens up Dennis Weaver's driving around. He's an electronics salesman, so he's driving to wherever to meet a client. And he's listening to some talk radio advice show. And it's pretty much just that for the first 5 minutes until he gets behind the tanker truck. And then the tanker truck is, an aggravating driver, and he decides to pass him. Because here's the thing, Dennis Weaver's character is not very likable at all. And he comes off smarmy and smug. There's an incident where he's talking to his wife at a diner, which was actually one of the extended scenes, I guess. I guess for the extended stuff, which I think was a huge mistake, and they should have never done that at all, because there's no reason to make this movie longer. Because the 3 scenes that they put in that were extended was the school bus scene, the scene where he talks to his wife, and the railroad track scene. So basically all of the scenes in where he interacts with a person that kind of develops him a little more as a character wasn't even in the original movie. So the original movie, while shorter, is probably even less interesting because it's literally just Dennis Weaver driving around until the end of the movie, where he starts to interact with, some small town gas station attendants and things like that, who are also not interesting.
So I read some interesting things. So you mentioned that initial radio show where it's talking about it's like a man talking about how he's worried about being emasculated at home.
Right, because he stays at home and takes care of the kids, and his wife works.
Right, which
for 1971 was pretty radical.
And for 2019, I can sympathize.
2020.
Yeah, or shit, goddamn, that's right. Sorry. Sorry, Father Time. I forgot. God. One of these days. Okay, 2020. In 2020, I can sympathize. And, I don't know. Because I've read a fair amount of stuff now. Spielberg got attached to this because the short story was given to him by his secretary, and she suggested that he apply as the director. It was going to be a TV of the week. I wonder if some of that, like, emasculation, kind of attack on masculinity is intentional. I mean, I have to think some of it has to be, because Dennis Weaver's internal monologue is very much like his character being, like, feeling uncomfortable and, like, feeling like he's being emasculated by this truck. And you could make the case, well, there's a truck just in his head, and he's just, trying to, figure out how to overcome his...
But it's not, because it destroys that lady's, like, sideshow, pet show, which I feel so terrible for that lady. Like, at the towards the end, like, right before the climax of this movie, which we're jumping around because it doesn't matter, because it's all the same shit until the truck, drives off the cliff at the end. Spoilers. But, yeah... At the end, he's just kind of being, totally terrorized and chased. And he gets out of the car and is talking to this woman who has this kind of weird petting zoo of wildlife, like desert wildlife that she keeps. And this truck just fucking plows through, like, most of the enclosures. I'm like, killing the animals and ruining this lady's, like, livelihood. And so we know the truck at that point is real. So this whole, like, making it seem like the truck driver is, like, this weird non-entity is kind of pointless. But to your point, as far as, like, that emphasis on emasculation, I think I did notice that. And I, like, starting with the radio show, and then later on when he talks to his wife, there was evidently they had a fight because he did not essentially defend her honor when somebody at a party made moves on her,
nearly raped her.
That's what she says, and she says nearly raped me at the party. So that's a weird line that's thrown in there into this movie about this man being chased by a truck.
It's a really fucking weird line.
Yeah, it seems so out of place, and nothing is ever resolved on that. And that's the thing. He doesn't seem to be a very likable guy. He seems kind of like tail between his legs-ish.
Non-confrontational.
Except, is he, though?
I mean, the scene in the diner, he could have gotten up and gone to talk to any of them.
Yeah, but he also is the reason that this truck is kind of following him at this point. Like, he's the one who's
I mean, here's the thing, right? The thing that I think about, as someone who, I drive pretty aggressively.
This could happen to me. I agree entirely.
Yeah, I grew up in Texas, you grew up in Ohio, so aggressive drivers are present in both of those states, especially in Dallas, where I'm from.
Right.
And, I've had people bitch to me. They're like, I was driving through Texas and, oh my God, the driver's there. I was like, oh, you mean we get where we're going on time and we don't like to fucking dilly-dally?
Right.
And it's like, if you think that's a problem, maybe try getting places on time. However, you're right. I don't know if I could see this happening to me because I'm not aggressive to the point of antagonistic.
Which is the whole, I would never, so the road that they're driving on in this is like your quintessential, like, windy mountain. At one point it's like a windy mountain road. At other points it's just a flat desert. It's weird. It kind of changes geography a little bit. I don't mean mountain like snowy mountain. I just mean like kind of like high twisty, deserty mountain.
Yeah. When we went, when I went with a friend of mine, we drove from here to LA, to visit some friends. We drove through stuff like this on our way back. And like you're fucked if something's going on out there. Like you've got, and even in 2020, it's still like this. Like there's still,
there's lights, there's no place to stop, there's no phone, And so, at the beginning of this movie, when he's following behind this truck, yes, I would be pissed off to be behind the truck too, but I wouldn't pass him on that kind of road. But still, that's whatever. But the thing is with this character, he's just never likable. And the thing is he never changes. Because, like you said, the movie ends so abruptly, even though it doesn't, because it feels like it's 2 hours. But there's very little second act because there's no conflict happening. There's no motivation. There's no reason that any of this is happening. It's not in his head, so we can't say that it's some kind of like manifestation of like masculinity because it is actually happening. But then we have all that inner monologue when he's sitting at the diner about, you know, like, is he a non-vet? Like, do we, because when he's in the bathroom, he's like, when he's in the bathroom, he has that line about saying, like, then you know, you're right back in the jungle. So we get like a little drip of some maybe PTSD. We get a little drip of marital, you know, discord, but nothing ever comes of it, and his character never changes. He just eventually bests the truck, and the truck goes off the cliff and explodes because, as we've been told this entire movie in big block letters, the truck is flammable. So you know what else makes this movie boring? The fact that you can't have an aggressive car chase, really, because the truck can't hit anything until it needs to explode.
Yeah, but even when the car goes over the cliff, it doesn't explode.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't really.
Which is kind of weird.
I think,
considering how they show flammable, explosive, like, I know it's a TV movie, but fucking come on, guys.
I think so there's this podcast series by this network called Foundry, and they do like inside deep dives of movies, and they've done The Exorcist, and they did Jaws. Fantastic, really well produced podcasts. And so I want to say
fantastic
that,
and well produced, unlike this one.
Hey, that's not true. We are fantastic and moderately well produced.
I would agree. But we don't have people doing voices for
and sound
demons.
design. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Those oh my god, those podcasts are amazing.
They're fantastic. But so in the Jaws one, there is a bit where they do talk about this movie, and I want to say that I vaguely recall some reason that they couldn't explode the truck is that I think they had one and they fucked up the shot when they actually exploded it, and they couldn't do it again, so they just had to deal with the non-exploding truck. But I can't say if that's for real or if I'm making that up. But it sounds like something that would happen in 1971.
Yeah, I mean, that has to be it.
And I mean, like I said,
if that's not true, it sounds. I would think that it would have something to do with the budget.
Yeah, that too. Like it might have just been purely budgetary and they just couldn't do it. But this is very much a first film, and that's fine. I mean, obviously he grew as a director. But yeah, there's this. You can't. The worst thing a movie can be is boring, and this movie is absolutely boring. And it's not even boring because of the material necessarily, like the actual like gist of the movie, because there are movies that do the killer car / crazy driver motif pretty well. At least, interesting. They either have characters that are interesting enough to keep it going, or they have at least, more exciting car chases or more exciting setups. But in this movie, even the car chase, which is basically the whole movie, is still not that exciting for the most part. There's a few instances where everything gets really crazy and the truck is like driving through shit. But for the most part, it's just him trying to pass the truck and then the truck, driving really close to him in the back. And it's boring.
Should we do like a whole month of like killer chasing
car
after
movies?
Killer cars.
I mean, I have like 4 written down right here because I have my note. It says other movies about psycho cars or drivers that are more entertaining, and Road Games, which is probably closest to Duel in subject matter. It has Stacy Keach and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Ozploitation, eh?
Ozploitation, yes. About 2 people being harassed by a, disgruntled truck driver. There's The Car, which has James Brolin in it, and it's pretty goofy and campy. I don't love it, but it is more entertaining than Duel. Christine, obviously, which is probably easily one of my top 3 favorite John Carpenter movies. I love Christine.
Ghosts of Mars?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, you know what? The Asylum.
Oh, you mean the film that knocked John Carpenter out from working?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Amber Heard.
He's fine. He plays video games and goes on tour with his band because, that's what all 80-year-old people do.
Well, all 80-year-old people who have money.
Yeah. And then Nightmares, which is an anthology, which actually I just was talking to you about, has a sort of segment in it that's similar to this. That's, at least it's shorter. Like, this would have been fine as a short film. Like, even maybe a 25 minute short film you could have got away with. But 74 minutes and then adding on to make it 95 minutes is unnecessary entirely.
Yeah, I agree.
But, I mean, there are a ton more car movies. I mean, Joyride, The Hitcher, if you want to get a little more, you know.
Is Jeepers Creepers a car movie?
Technically, yeah, I would consider it a car movie.
I mean, notwithstanding the fact that it's directed by
there's
actual child molester.
Yeah, that one's... and it is unfortunate because I do think that Jeepers Creepers is a good movie.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue, heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
I think Jeepers Creepers is an amazing movie.
But
honestly, like, it is one of those movies that, like, there are very few monster films post 80s that do such a good job of creating an instantly recognizable and also, like, compelling villain in a way that Jeepers Creepers does. And yeah, thanks, asshole Vincent Salva, for raping kids, man.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate it's really hard to separate, but yeah, I would say that it's definitely a car movie. There's I know I'm forgetting other ones, but
Monster Man.
Oh yeah.
A movie about a killer monster truck.
Oh, there's Trucks. It's just called Trucks, which is not a good movie, but there is a fucking hysterical scene because so in this movie it's sort of like what is that? Stephen King crap, The Mangler, I think, where all of the electronics sort of become sentient and start killing people.
Oh, you mean Maximum Overdrive?
Yeah, Maximum Overdrive. And it's anything that's truck or truck related. Or vehicle related. So a Tonka truck, like a child's Tonka truck, kills a mailman pretty hard, and it's pretty fucking hysterical. The rest of the movie is really dull, but that scene alone, just look it up on YouTube, I'm sure it's there, is fantastic and worth that few minutes of your life.
So it's a remake of Maximum Overdrive.
I think it might have come before, but I can't be certain on that.
Well, Maximum Overdrive came out in 86, and this movie came out in 97.
Did it? Okay, yeah. I think it was another TV one, maybe.
Is this Stephen King's Trucks as opposed to just Maximum Overdrive, like The Shining and Stephen King's The Shining? What about Joyride?
I don't know if Stephen King has his name on that. Joyride would be considered one, yeah. But it's less...
Joyride is dumb Duel, and Duel's pretty dumb.
Duel is at least, like, it's straightforward, and this man is being chased by this truck until the truck crashes, and then it's over. Goodbye. Joyride is entirely more convoluted than it needs to be.
Well, it's also more of a horror movie.
Yes, yeah, and there's more characters, and there are more stakes.
And there's Lily Sobieski.
Yes, there is.
Great. Cool. Yeah, when we talk about Steven Spielberg and the director that he was in 71 versus the director he has become in 2020, Father Time.
Mm-hmm.
God, it
49 years later.
Yeah, it is just shocking.
Oh, yeah, leaps and bounds.
Like, yeah, that might be an understatement. Like, holy fucking shit. Like, the amount of time and effort he has gone to create things that are so just... I mean, look, it literally goes Duel, The Sugarland Express, and then Jaws.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about before a director that I honest to God hate at this point because he just won't go away. He won't stop making movies. Is Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott, I think, has like overstayed his welcome and then some. And Ridley Scott made his two best films back to back, Alien and Blade Runner. And Spielberg made Jaws and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Like we were talking about at the top of the podcast, a director, you or I, or anyone would give their left arm to do one of those movies, let alone both back to back. And then he would go on 4 years later to do Raiders of the goddamn Lost Ark.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just shocking. It's just constant, like, hit after hit after hit after that. And I mean, like, you hit Raiders for the most part. Well, okay, fine. But E.T., I mean, yeah, sure, Twilight Zone, the movie's not a hit either, but I
that's not
it.
all him.
No, exactly.
Oh, that movie crashed landed. Ooh, that was
sure did.
Boy.
All right, so let's say after Hook is pretty much a steady stream of hits. Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, AI, Artificial Intelligence, which was a hit at the time. I don't think anybody cares anymore now.
I mean, there's a lot of problems with that movie, namely the fact that it's not really Steven Spielberg's movie.
Yeah. Catch Me If You Can. That's a great movie.
The Terminal.
Well.
War of the Worlds.
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
So let's talk about that for a second. What is widely considered to be the like least successful Spielberg movie, like the worst Spielberg movie? Is it Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
Probably. I think that's the one that everybody... I think that's the one that's like... based on like consensus is his worst one.
Because honestly, I think it might be Duel.
Yeah, but to be fair, Duel is his first movie.
Yeah, that's not fair, right?
Yeah, no. Duel is his very first movie, and he's learning how to do something, and he's adapting a story that really isn't a story. I mean, Richard Matheson, well, he's not adapting it. Richard Matheson adapted his own story, but...
I mean, it's almost just a glorified episode of The Twilight
Zone. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just an overextended, boring episode of The Twilight Zone, and
which
it's
is
a first
The Twilight Zone 2019.
But I'm sorry, anything that pretty much happens after fucking Schindler's List, you should know better.
Well, I mean, yeah, after Schindler's List, you've just got like what I would consider to be a stream of like okay movies.
Yeah.
If we're talking like 5 and up was before Schindler's, and then like 5 and down is after Schindler's, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, Steven Spielberg, much like, Martin Scorsese or even maybe Ridley Scott, they make movies for a specific audience, and that audience is, they make Oscar movies.
Safe,
quote unquote,
safe movies.
Oscar movies, safe movies, tons of biopics, tons of period pieces, and yes, Schindler's List obviously is both of those things, a biopic and a period piece, but it's a different, obviously the gravity of that story is much different than the gravity of like War Horse. But I think that now he just, because he's at the point where he's elevated so high, much like Stephen King or Martin Scorsese, like all of these people who have been so prolific and so successful in their career that and whatever they make,
pop culture,
whatever they make, they have a huge enough fan base who will like it no matter what it is, because those are the people who made it. And those are the people who basically created the worlds that these people love. And I get it. I do. But I also am a firm believer in holding your creators, to be the best that they can be. And when you just start phoning it in and just making the same kind of trite, overdone, safe bait movie, I don't care anymore. Like, I haven't seen... I think the last the newest Steven Spielberg movie I saw was Ready Player One. And before then...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
You claim we watched it.
I don't really remember any of it other than the Shining bit now. Like
because it was a video game. It was a video game in film form. It is a video game. It is one of those video games where it's like a Hideo Kojima game without any interactivity. You are just watching the game play itself. Right. And I would love to have played a video game in the world of Ready Player One where it's like, oh shit, I get to throw the Chucky doll and
that would have been cool.
Yeah, but that's not what it fucking is.
And like a Kingdom of Hearts kind of deal, but with different pop culture references.
And no, it's just we're watching all this. It's like, God, this is fucking boring.
But I mean, even before, so what? Like the last one I saw, the newest one I saw, was Ready Player One. I didn't see The Post, I didn't see the BFG, I didn't see Bridge of Spies or Lincoln or War Horse, none of that. I did see The Adventures of Tintin, which was fine. I think it's very well animated.
I think it's the only Indiana Jones sequel worth really talking about.
Yeah.
It is an Indiana Jones movie. It really is.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a good one. I mean, and then, Catch Me If You Can. I liked that. There are ones peppered around here, but, I don't know. Steven Spielberg, I like, obviously. I mean, I really love his early movies. Aside from Duel, his period in the 70s is probably my favorite, mid-70s to early 80s. Is probably my favorite, era of I almost said Stephen King, of Steven Spielberg fare. And I think that makes sense because I think that those are the movies that really shaped pop culture and how we know it now. And then later on in his career, he does a few things that are really good, but then the rest of it's all just still trying to recapture that same magic from the early films. And some people still think that he does, and that's fine, if you still enjoy Steven Spielberg movies, good for you. None of them, and I'm sure that they're all very fine.
How not dismissive you are. I love it, but good for you. I love it. I mean, it's.
And I'm sure they're all very technically well-made movies, but they're all going to be very safe, which means forgettable in the long run, and not a lot of rewatch value in the long run, for me, personally.
No, I mean, you're completely right. You talk about these directors kind of writing. I mean, look, when you have someone like Scorsese, like you mentioned, or someone like fucking De Niro in an actor, or Pacino in an actor, or Ridley Scott, or a lot of these actors and directors that have been riding the wave of quality that isn't there anymore.
Yeah, but everybody still remembers it. And they can't let it go, so it's still there.
Like with The Irishman, like we talked about it on the last podcast, The Irishman is not great, but everyone is acting like it is. Is that because everyone is afraid to say, it's not that good?
Yeah, and that Martin Scorsese's
lost a step.
Yeah, because people, this is what, iconoclasts are. Like, people don't want to see or admit their idols being any lesser than what they thought they were initially. But I mean, hey, look, if you're going to make that many movies, some of them are going to be bad. Just like Stephen King, if you're going to be that prolific of a writer, some of them are going to be bad. And that's just how it is. That's fine. And that's fine. Because it's you working stuff out. And even, the bad stories are still an accomplishment that you got them done. But hey, they helped you move along in your career, fine. But also have the humility and self-awareness to admit that not everything is a winner and that things can be improved upon. Because Steven Spielberg is a good filmmaker. There's no doubt about that. It's just that he has to make these kind of films now because that's what people expect of him, and that's what, he makes him money. And even though he has more money than he could ever spend in like 3 lifetimes, but
$3.7 billion.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I mean, he could never make another movie again and be fucking totally fine for the rest of his life. No fucking problem.
I genuinely wonder, and this is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, is the Neil Young, prolific musician, prolific Canadian musician, of course. In his song Hey Hey My, Into the Black, he says, it's better to burn out than to fade away. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and in one of my favorite movies, High Fidelity, Jack Black asks, is it better to burn out than to fade away? And I think it might be. I think it's better to burn out than to fade away, because Steven Spielberg has faded away. Like, his movies continue to come out, mm-hmm. but they're not what they used to be. Not even close. Not even close. And honestly, dude,
they're paid by numbers at this point.
And when you're making a movie that's referencing your other movies, like wholesale referencing them, like in mm-hmm. Ready Player One, where you've got the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, and you produced...
Yeah, because you own all this shit, so you can do it.
Yeah, you produced Back to the Future, so here's the DeLorean. It's like...
You produced Gremlins, so here's Gizmo dressed as Rambo, yeah.
Boy, man, you're kind of missing the point here. Like, it's transcended... Mm-hmm. It's transcended it being relevant, and you're trying to grasp at relevancy. And like you said, I know he's not doing this because of the money. Because like you said, I mean, what's the point at this point? Dude's got more money than pretty much any other. He is like the director of directors when it comes to money. Yeah. And,
him and James Cameron.
Yeah. I would rather talk to Steven Spielberg one-on-one than have anything to do with James Cameron.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know what the point is. I mean, Spielberg directed the West Side Story remake that's coming out this year. Like, why?
Because you know who goes to see his movies? People 50 and up. And people, you know what movie?
Ansel Elgort.
People who love the golden age of Hollywood. And you know what? I like that time period too, but I like the movies that came out in it. I don't need new movies, that are trying to replicate it, because they just feel shallow. And they're not do something new, do something different. That's why I am a genre fan.
They're grasping at straws.
Yeah. Or they're just doing stuff. And you know what? I'm sure Steven Spielberg really cares about, every movie that he does, and I'm sure that he believes in it, but I don't know. It's just not interesting to me anymore. And that's, that's okay. That happens, because you know what? There's a million more movies out there and a million more creators out there that I will never have the time to get through. But I'm not going to waste it watching, Oscar season movies just because they're Oscar season movies. They're all the same. But Duel.
Yeah, I mean, this really does go back to the idea with Duel of, this is a director at the very beginning of his career doing something so kind of, look, if Steven Spielberg had never become Steven Spielberg, no one would care about Duel, right?
No, yeah. It would just be horror fans who were like, did you see this weird, this obscure made-for-TV movie that's not very good, but we all should watch it anyway? And then I'd be like...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure, Duel, whatever. And yeah, it's this kind of weird spot that this movie sits in, where it's not a horror movie because, no self-respecting director does horror, don't you know? It's only for us heathens to enjoy, and actual directors would never touch horror with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
Because Jaws isn't a horror movie. Sure, whatever. I mean, I don't know if I consider it a horror movie, but I tell you who doesn't is Steven Spielberg, for sure.
I think that it's the perfect example of an action horror movie.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Which there are very few of.
Yeah.
But it's still a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, but Steven Spielberg would probably never admit it's a horror movie.
Yeah, and William Friedkin doesn't like horror movies either.
But here's the thing, good point about bringing up The Exorcist. For me, I would say calling Jaws a horror movie is doing the film a disservice. Just like calling The Exorcist a horror movie is doing it a disservice. It is so much more than that. Like, Jaws specifically and The Exorcist transcend the genre way more than most films even can hope.
Well, and here's the thing. Most movies should transcend genre. You shouldn't be trying to,
Agreed.
Paint by numbers and make something exclusively fit in one singular genre. That doesn't make, I mean, sure, there are examples in the 80s were filled with slasher movies that were basically the same, and I love them all. I really do. But it's also like popcorn movies, and that's fine. But if you're trying to do something, if you're really trying to make something that you really care about and you're really passionate about the story, then you're going to probably touch on a variety of different genres or a variety of different themes that are going to sprout out from wherever. But yeah, for the sake of us all needing to label things and put things in boxes, yeah, base level, The Exorcist is a horror movie, but that's the very base level. It's about much more than that.
Same with Jaws. It is a movie about a shark eating people and the people who go out on a boat to fight it. And it's kind of a horror movie, but it's more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you like anything in this movie?
You know what's funny? I've seen this movie 4 times. I don't know why I've seen it so many times, because no, not really. I mean, I know that it was just part of, the first time I saw it was just me scrambling to see anything that was even remotely horror related, because this does technically fall into that weird sub-genre, just a weird gray area of horror movie that Duel falls into. But no, not particularly. I know that they did win awards for technical achievement for, some of the camera work with the car chases, but I think it's just me having seen too much stuff and being too far removed from the time, the mentality of the time, or, just what people were used to at the time, that I'm not impressed at all by the car chase sequences. I don't see anything particularly novel, but like I said, I think I'm just too far removed from it. But no, I mean, I like the Plymouth Valiant. That's about it.
Yeah, I think I actually like the aspect of Dennis Weaver's character not being a strong male lead. I actually like that, because I think in this film it kind of works, and I do like his internal monologue. Do I wish he had something interesting to say during that internal monologue? Sure. But I do like seeing inside the character's head and seeing kind of how he's dealing with the kind of the situation that he's in and ostensibly put himself in. But I do kind of like the character and kind of the demasculation of the character. But that's, for things that I like, that's kind of it.
Yeah, and I mean, I would definitely agree with you. My biggest problem is that he just stays that way, and that
there's no character arc.
There's no, and I'm not saying he needs to become like some big macho male representation. I'm not saying that at all. But there's just a smarminess and smugness to him that doesn't change, and I mean, there's nothing really accomplished or finalized or anything at the end of the movie. He literally ends with him just like sitting down on a rock and throwing pebbles like at the broken down at the crushed truck in the bottom of the ravine. But yeah, I think especially for 1971, it's very interesting to see a male lead who's not, rough and tumble, man's man, whatever. I mean, even in Road Games with Stacy Keach, I mean, he's, it's exploitation, so of course it's super macho, but
yeah, it's definitely a different look for a protagonist, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I know that, like, for the things that I like about the film, that's kind of where it begins and ends.
Mm-hmm. There's just really nothing to it.
Yeah, there's a lot more dislikes. Like, a lot more dislikes. Like, pretty much everything else. Even the fucking credits for the movie look so goddamn goofy.
Yeah, they do. That's weird. Like, they're like this kind of like beach movie sort of, I don't know, sort of jungle-esque font that's strange. Like 60s psychedelic font. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it doesn't really let you know the kind of film that you're watching.
No, not at all.
It'd be like Jaws being in like Comic Sans or something. It's like, okay. Like, why? So, yeah, I came away from this film going, I'm glad Spielberg matured as a director really quickly, because 4 years after this, we got Jaws. And if not for Temple of Doom being a film that I gravitate towards so hard, I probably would have said Jaws. Because I just rewatched Jaws again like a month and a half ago, and it's so fucking good.
Yeah, it is. And it's gorgeous. Like on Blu-ray, oh my god, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it is so fucking good. And you know what? I haven't seen Close Encounters in a while, and I'm sitting here looking at the Close Encounters poster in my office, and I want to rewatch it because I haven't seen it in forever.
So good.
And I bet it looks amazing in 4K. And, the whole thing with Spielberg is I am glad that Spielberg was not this.
Yes.
Forever.
Like, this is, and you know what? It's good that this movie started out on TV, and for whatever theatrical run it had, which I'm sure was very limited and very short. I think it's good that he kind of could practice in that medium instead of having a huge theatrical release that bombed immediately. Like, if this had been exclusively released to theaters and they'd like put a bunch of marketing behind it, it would have really, really, like, I think it would have really like hit his career hard early. So yeah, that's, I think that at least this was a good like playground for him to kind of work things out. And honestly, it was probably just a learning experience of being on a set and being a director and commanding a group of people so that he could go do that later. And I mean, Jaws is a notoriously fraught production. I mean, nobody got along on that production, and the
especially
mechanics,
not the shark.
No, the mechanics were constantly fucking up, and Richard Dreyfuss, and it was just a constant tense,
notorious pain in the ass, Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes, and but it's fantastic. It's a fantastic movie, like we've said. It holds up.
It's a shock that movie turned out as well as it did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or, one might even say it's a shock that movie is widely considered to be one of the greatest films ever made.
Agreed.
Because it's, I mean, you could go watch documentaries about the film being made, and they're longer than the movie, with how much, like, insane shit happened behind the scenes.
But you know what? I think this is the very last time I will ever watch Duel.
I would hope so.
I think this podcast has put him to bed officially for me.
So what would you give the film out of 5?
I probably like a 1.5.
Ooh.
Maybe a 2. I would say a 2 because I the 1 star, is that I hate it, and that's just reserved for movies that leave me viscerally angry at them. And this doesn't. This evokes no emotion at all. It's just a thing that happened on my TV for 89 minutes and then it was over. So, yeah, I'll go with a 2. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 1.5. I will give it a 1.5 because it is just... It's not anything special. I mean, and like you said, I think if it were anyone else's movie, I'd probably give it less than that. But it is Spielberg, and it, because of this we get Jaws. Because of this we get Close Encounters. Because of this we get Jaws is really that narrative. So yeah, I give it like 1.5 Peterbilts out of 5 because it is just. Yeah, I've watched it once now, and that's it. Like, I don't ever need to watch it again. And I don't know how you've watched it 4 times. Holy shit, Jess.
I know. Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm never, like, watching it like that's all I'm doing. It's all
I'll say, like, if you need some suggestions, I can suggest some movies for you to watch that are much more entertaining for an hour and a half. You watch it 4 fucking times. Like, that is a new level of sadism.
Like since I've been watching movies, like horror movies. So, like, 4 times since I was, like, 17.
4 times in 12 years. That's once every 3 years.
Yeah. I go back to just, see if it's still bad once every 3 years. So in 2023, I guess, will be the real test.
Yeah. It is bad. It's definitely bad. So let's take a break and we'll play a preview for the next Kulturecast.
December 1941. The California coast. The Japanese had just bombed Pearl Harbor. A nation's heroes were on the alert.
Look, you guys are Japs up!
The dummy's right.
California could be next.
Who did I shoot there? I don't know!
This is war.
Oh, God.
A country's honor was at stake. The lives of millions would be protected by a brave few. This is their story.
Excuse us, ma'am.
From the director of Jaws and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The most explosive comedy spectacular ever filmed.
What the hell do you people think you're doing?
Dan Aykroyd, Ned Beatty, John Belushi, Lorraine Garrett, Murray Hamilton, Christopher Lee, Tim Matheson, Toshiro Mifune, Warren Oates, Robert Stack, Treat Williams.
I can assure you, there will be no bombs dropped here.
Boy, that was fun!
Universal Pictures and Columbia Pictures present an 18 production of a Steven Spielberg film. 1941.
Sayonara,
That's right, on the next Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about another film that most people probably think is bad that I haven't seen in a very long time. We're going to be talking about Steven Spielberg's film from 1979, 1941. Sure, we sure are. I have seen it a very long time ago. I don't remember it at all.
I've never seen it.
Features Dan Aykroyd, which...
Yeah, I knew that. So does Temple of Doom.
This movie actually features Dan Aykroyd.
Right, yeah, you're not just like saying, hey, get on the plane, bye.
Yeah, okay, bye. Like, yeah. To be fair, though, Temple of Doom does feature Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, I haven't seen 1941 in a long time. I can tell you what, though. He who is joining me, Father Malone, absolutely loves 1941. So, yeah.
Cool. I have no opinion because I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I legitimately have no idea what it is going to be about. I know that it's got like Robert Stack, John Belushi, Christopher Lee, Tim Matheson, Toshiro Mifune. Like, it is... You look at the cast list, okay, and that's like an exciting prospect. But yeah, I don't know if it's good. So I'm looking forward to it.
It can't be worse than Duel. It can't be more boring than Duel, I should say.
Well, yeah, it can't be more boring than Duel, that's for sure.
Which is at least better.
Right. If it's a failure of like entertaining proportions, that's much more exciting than a failure of boring proportions.
Right.
So until then, where can people find you, Jess?
You can find me on Twitter at WriterJessByard, and you can also find me on Instagram if you're into strange, surreal art, digital art, I should say, collage making. You can follow me at Practiced Amateur, and you can also find me on our podcast, The One Season Show, which we are right in the middle of Kitchen Confidential, so you have time to catch up on both that and our first season on Werewolf. And yeah, I'm on many episodes of this too.
You sure are. More to come as well. So, and as for me here, you can find me on Chronicles from the Crypt. You can find me on Dreams for Sale, and you can find me on the yet to be named Barney Miller podcast. Patreon is a place you could go to give us money. Kulturecast.com is where you can go to listen to more episodes of the show. We're on all podcatchers, both iOS and Android. Big thanks to Tiger Blood Jewel for the music for the Kulturecast, and to Jess for watching this for the fourth time.
The fourth and final time.
I'm going to hold you to it. Like,
That's
in 2023,
fine,
I'm going to be like, Jess, don't watch Duel
If I'm watching
again.
Duel, it means I'm really, really depressed.
Yeah, you're just like, Chris, I'm watching Duel. Jess, no! Don't do it! Oh, God. And yeah, make sure to check out the next episode.